before we begin the installation of the 2014 to 2019 4Runner Apple CarPlay conversion kit, we're going to go ahead and disconnect the negative terminal of the battery. Here we have a rubber glove, and we're just going to put that negative terminal in a rubber glove. You can put it in a shopping bag. That's just an added precaution, and it keeps your power off in your entire vehicle so that you don't blow any fuses when you're doing the installation. And the first thing we're going to do here is remove this trim piece. It clips in. You're going to pinch it here at the bottom and pinch it here at the top and just wiggle it back and forth firmly. If you do it kind of slowly at first, you'll feel it start to break loose without damaging anything. So we're going to go ahead and do that on the right side, and then we're going to come over here and do that as well on the left side. The second step after we've removed both of these trim pieces along the sides here is going to be to remove this climate control panel. Once again, the clips are very strong. It's pretty sturdy. Sometimes when you grab the left trim side here, it'll already start to come loose. Otherwise, you can just kind of grab at the base of the knobs here and wiggle it out. You'll see it comes out here. Be a little bit gentle with it because it is connected by a wiring harness. We'll go ahead and press down on the tab and remove that wiring harness. And we can just set this down here without removing this tab for now. So the next step after we've removed the climate control panel, we're gonna leave it just hanging here for just a minute, is we're gonna remove these 4 10mm bolts. Here we have a deep socket. You ought to be able to reach these with just about any socket and an extension. Because the bolts are in plastic, they're not in very tight, so usually you just need to break them loose, and then you can use your fingers to remove them from there. Here we show what it would look like to remove the factory head unit and spin it around. You would disconnect all of these connectors, and in the following steps we will show you how they connect to our new wiring harness. You're going to remove these two air vent assemblies from your factory head unit. They're conveniently marked LH for left hand and RH for right hand. The thing to remember obviously is that that's from the driver's perspective if the unit were installed, so you would look at it from that direction. So what we're going to do, you have these two little screws that hold them in. You're going to come here and you're going to carefully line it up and then clip them in. Some folks have expressed from time to time that this can be a little bit challenging. It kind of just depends. The tolerances on a lot of these Toyota parts are just very slightly different. So basically just be very gentle with them when you click them in. And then you'll install these two screws right here and right here, and that will hold them in firmly. Once you have them in, you can also install this trim piece from your factory unit, and as you can see, we have that mocked up here, and you'll just click that in there. Once you've removed the hazard button from your original vehicle, it has a two-part wiring harness that disconnects here and then lower down in the wiring harness. It's easiest if you do this on a workbench in your garage, so go ahead and disconnect it here, and the hazard button will simply click right in. And then you just want to test to make sure the fitment works for it to go in and out just fine. I'll give you an overview here of the wiring as we get ready to show what it would look like to install. This is our Apple CarPlay conversion kit. We've gone ahead and swapped over the vents and the hazard switch. And now what we've got here, if you disconnect and remove the OEM harness, you're left with 5 large white harnesses that will plug into our main harness. So one looks like this, one looks like this, one looks like this one, and this one. And now, as you'll see here, for example, we will not have corresponding wires on all of our harnesses to all your factory harnesses, and that's totally okay, and that's totally normal. You will also have some leftover and unused harnesses as well. The one key thing not to forget, this is our CAN bus box. What this does is it's a little computer that takes in your reverse signals and your steering wheel control signals, and it translates them into a signal that our radio can understand. and it will hang off of our wiring harness. Here is going to be the main connector that goes into the back of our radio, as well as this one. You'll have a yellow RCA here that will plug into a yellow RCA coming off of our other harness, our tiny harness. That's for the backup camera. I'll show you what that looks like real quick. So here it is in the back of the radio, and this has been already installed. It's a little tiny 10-pin connector. I'll get that one out of the way. You can see it here. And it has a couple shorter blue wires. You won't need those. Those are all for debugging. This is totally, plug and play. There'll be no splicing required. And so this little yellow RCA is going to plug into the yellow RCA from the main harness. And that will be for your backup camera. Now what you're going to do, and you kind of use this towel here and support the radio with your hand, you'll go through and basically it's easiest, first of all, to just install all of this into the car. And then this one here is, we include this little harness. This is for your USB. It'll clip onto this little gray vehicle harness, okay? So what we recommend is you install all of these in the vehicle, get comfortable, and then kind of get in a position where you can finally mate the aftermarket head unit to the vehicle. So we've installed, this is a USB port that we've installed into the glove box. So it's hanging out in the glove box. We ran this wire through the dash. We'll go ahead and clip that in here. This one is going to be another USB, and this is exactly what the one in the glove box looks like. So it's a female USB that comes to this little multi-pin connector. This one is going to plug into the male USB coming off of this gray connector. And that's going to be for your factory USB port that hangs out in your center console. So we've gotten everything plugged in here. Once again, you have these 5 big white harnesses plugged in. And we're just going to go ahead and take this black connector and plug it into the radio. That's going to be the main power and main data cable. Now, this RCA that came from the little reverse camera harness here, like I said, plugs onto that main connector. We have this other connector that plugs in, and nothing important comes off of it for now. If you're looking to add an aftermarket amp, or add aftermarket speakers or anything like that, this is the harness for that. So this harness has a bunch of extra connections. So we recommend plugging it in and just leaving it back here. That way it's always back there if you need it. And then of course, the last thing to plug in is going to be the hazard switch here. This comes out of the vehicle, and this hazard switch is your factory one. We swapped it over to our radio. So we'll go ahead and plug that in, boom. And then of course, this right here is your vehicle antenna. And we'll do that last because it's a little bit on the shorter side. It comes from our main harness, the antenna does. It comes through one of the white harnesses onto the main harness, and that will plug into the antenna spot there. We also recommend we include these 2 other antennas. We recommend just going ahead and screwing them on here. They'll sit in the back. One's for GPS, one's for Wi-Fi. So the final steps, go through and make sure that you don't have anything that you need unused. In most cars, these 2 will not be used here. You've got the 5 main ones plugged in. You have everything else plugged in. Then we recommend with these other antennas, you can kind of use the sticky tape and stick them on the inside here or here, wherever is kind of out of the way. And from there, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and gently feed all your wires back into the dash and make sure that your vents line up. And then just like that, we'll feed from underneath and we'll pop the radio back in. And we'll do that starting at the top and then pressing.